Welcome to Koumei and the Five Fates, where we are going over Koumei specifically of this update. If you'd like to see me go over the rest of this update, i.e. the Nova rework, the Caliban rework, the two new skins the three new skins, the Caliban skin, the Nova skin, the Bolt skin, and the new game mode that they added and the new weapons, leave a comment, like, subscribe, do all that jazz. And if you really want to show some support, you could always become a member. However, I'm not going to force you to do that because I'm not a Twitch streamer. I don't have to force you to become a member. I'm just going to win you over instead. That being said, let's hop into this. Start talking about Koumei. That's right. We're back with Warframe. This time we're with a different Warframe. As you can tell, I already have Koumei. I have her thingy. I have her fashion. I am burping a lot, I apologize. But today we are looking at Koumei. And whether my previous video, where I said she's absolutely busted and she's either going to break Warframe or Warframe is going to break her, is correct or it was wrong. So, real quick, let's start this off like we normally do. Let's look at her abilities. Her passive is something that's not necessarily overpowered, not weak. However, it is a very extremely unique passive. Every 60 seconds, one of Koumei's weapons will inflict a random status effect for 60 seconds. Meaning that every 60 seconds, maybe my primary is going to do corrosive damage or viral damage or 1 damage. I don't think it's every bullet. I think it's during the duration of that time, it is one random status effect. No, it looks like it's random status effects the entire time. So essentially you get secondary encumber or primary encumber or melee encumber built into your weapon. Her first is Kumihimo. Professional Japanese speaker here, alright? Don't hate on me. Weave the threads of destiny. Enemies who touch the thread suffer a random status effect or roll a triple sixes creates threads that inflict one of every status effect. It's about as powerful as you think. A good drain at 25, a good damage of 25 times your pips on your dice, right? And you roll 6 dice. So you're doing 25 times 6, so that's 160? 150. 150 base if you have all ones, which is very unlikely. As unlikely as getting all 6s. So the damage pulls out to actually be pretty decent. I think I've seen it pop 100,000 damage, which was really weird, but I rolled like 5 6s, which you will see later on when I show gameplay, and we talk about it in the sense of gameplay. Its range is a base 30 meters, which is fantastic. Its duration is 18 seconds, which is good, and its thread length, which I am assuming is the horizontal instead of the vertical, so you have the left to right instead of the back and forth, is your thread length at 26.25, which is also pretty good. Her second is the Omikuji, and this is your decrees, right? Now, I was right. When I said the best way that they could buff it is cooldown between decrees, that's what they decided to do, and it gets more and more intense as you go on, up to 150 seconds, so 2.5 minutes, which is pretty good for balancing. Is it as powerful as I thought it would be in Endless Missions? Yes, it is. You may be getting a random decree, but let me tell you what, it doesn't matter whether you get random decrees or not. When you get criticals, deal cold damage, cold does a viral, and there's a 50% chance that a status proc is going to affect everybody in radius. Doesn't matter, it's still good. Her 3 is her Omamori, which is the little talismans. So they heal damage that's dealt to you. It has an eternal cooldown. And it's your survivability ability. It's a fantastic ability. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's not. I've been using a very energy or shield regenerative based build on her, which we will showcase soon. It's not the best build. There is going to be change probably, but it's still a good build that gets me going from point A to point B. Her 4 is her Bunraku. I'm gonna say Boon. Where it's your status effect It does good damage. It's got good range. It's got good duration. It's your, you know, it's your status crowd control. And it's great. I like it. Triple sixes causes further status effects over time and extends moon rocking to enemies behind Koumei. So those are her abilities. Her entire deal revolves around her form. Now, with that being said, let's go bring her into the simulacrum so you can see just how she is. But before we show off the abilities, here's my current build. We have Free Frostbite, Molt Augmented, Arcane Blessing, Archon Flow, Augur Reach, Augur Sequence, Prime Continuity, Adaptation, Streamline, and Intensify Stretch. And this is a new mechanic. It's cool. It's not my favorite, but it's cool. I like it. I like how I can just do it like that now. Bullshit, it only costs 520 credits. Tell me the truth, game. Sorry. But let's show off her abilities quick. So, for starters, I'm fucking, huh? This is Steel Path and he killed, okay. Anyways, so her 2 is this. I can't really do much with it, but you complete it, you get a decree. You can hold down on 2, reject it, and then there's a timer that pops. Her 3, why do you have so much HP? Her 3 is kind of where her defense comes into play. Like, it's a little ridiculous. And of course, because of how I have her built, as I cast abilities, I regenerate energy. But for those of us who were like, well, her abilities are gonna suck, they really don't. They're actually pretty powerful. And the 4 also lasts quite a long time. I was genuinely impressed with this character's survivability. I wasn't expecting her to have any survivability. I was expecting to have to get rid of her 3 and rely heavily on Molt Augmented and all that jazz. But as you can see, you really don't have to. It's a pretty tanky Warframe all in all. But let's hop into Mott. And let's, show it off a little more. So, with Mott, we have a unique scenario where, when this is pre-recorded, yeah, shush, all right, I wanted to get gameplay of the character beforehand, where I was still learning the character during this Mott, right? As you can tell, my Koumei is not even maxed out. I think I formed her once. And as you can see, the challenges, I think all the challenges that I've seen is enemies during wall latch, enemies while sliding, enemies past 20 meters, enemies closer than 10 meters, headshot kills, and then like elemental kills. Where it's like, kill X amount of enemies with such heat, like heat status or slash. I don't think it actually has slash. I think it's like heat or toxin. And then it's like electricity. And then it asks, kill such and such enemies that have the cold status because cold doesn't deal damage. So it's just, hey, have cold inflicted on them. And I think it's the same way with electricity. It's just inflicted with cold instead of killing them with heat. Because, they gotta make it pretty balanced. But what ends up happening is this Warframe, it gets progressively stronger throughout her run, right? That's just how she works. She's going to get stronger with more decrees because they stack. There were people in the previous video who said, no way they're gonna stack. They're gonna be on a timer. They aren't. They clearly aren't on a timer, and I don't think they should be on a timer. That's not a very intelligent way of doing it. I think The best way that they could make it, you know, slightly less powerful, which I think it's a balanced ability, as weird as it sounds, because 2.5 minutes per decree, and you only get 1 decree. Once you get to that point, the enemies are already super powerful, and if you're not careful, you die. So I think it's actually perfectly fair and balanced how they have this built. I wouldn't recommend them change it. But if they were to, I think all they would need to do is limit the decrees that are there. Because I haven't seen any limit to the decrees so far. Granted, I haven't played a lot, so there's no way I could have seen all the decrees so far. But it doesn't look like there's a big limit to the decrees. I haven't seen any corrupted decrees, which, smart. Don't do corrupted decrees. Corrupted decrees are an awful idea for Koumei. Although you could also argue that they're wonderful because gambling is, you know, it's a double-edged sword. You could have, you know, these corrupted decrees, which I think the corrupted decrees would be a smart way of balancing the ability as well, realistically, because then you would have, like, a really powerful ability, or maybe, you know, a slightly weaker ability. I don't know. It's how I see it. But overall, honestly, Koumei is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Warframe. She's very fun. She's very enjoyable. I think the only issue I ran into with Koumei was bugs. And that's really more so the update than the character. I would run into a lot of bugs. There would just be issues with her decrees. If you select decrees at the wrong time, I think that's what caused it. I'm not 100% sure, but if you tried getting a decree and you got a decree at the wrong time, it would interfere with your fissures. And so every single time you would get a new relic to pick, it would have you double select it, and it was very strange. But I don't think that's necessarily the character. That may not be the character. It's just that that's my assumption is something went wrong with the decrees, and it bugged out a little. But with that being said, I want your guys' opinion on Koumei, the new weapons, the update itself, the Bolt cosmetic, the Caliban rework, the Nova rework, all that jazz. Leave it all down below in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And for those of you that know, we now have members. I found it to be a YouTube partner. If you want to do that, that would be cool too. That takes your money, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you, you gotta be a member. That's an asshole thing to do. And I'm not on Twitter. Anyways, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Deuces, boys. Don't forget, best win compared to nothing. And gambling isn't an addiction. And just stop right before you get the win.